You have to understand that usurers, people who lend money at interest, are your greatest enemies. They have always been the greatest enemies of humanity. Usurers have always been close to power. If you look at any history, you will find them close to power. Usurers are the ones who prefer centralized power because they can loan money to centralized power and gain the right to take money from people at interest. This is called tax farming. If you want to learn about tax farming, you can Google it. You can talk to ChatGPT about it. Users have always used centralized power in order to suppress people. So the centralized power was an appearance of power where the real power was the usurers. And it's always been that way. This is why God condemns this act in the Quran, because it always results in oppression. If you want to consider what Thomas Jefferson wrote about having to provide funds for ideas you abhor being exactly tyranny, that is tyranny. Financial tyranny leads to political tyranny. So when your government borrows from usurers, they are borrowing in your name, and your government, once it gains power, will suppress you to give their handlers, their usurers, your money. You will be enslaved. Because again, by the standards of the founders of America, being forced to pay money is tyranny. You are no longer free. This is why God forbade usury. Now, when we're talking about money, you have to really understand what money is and how pointless and useless usurers actually are. Money doesn't build industries. Money doesn't fight wars. Money doesn't build buildings. Money doesn't do anything. Human beings do those things. You can still do those things without money if you have trust among people. Money simply represents trust. Trust that you are going to be able to exchange it for goods and services. So to give the control of trust to people who have always oppressed us is ridiculous. People who practice usury should not be accepted in society. They should always be excluded from society. And this is why God forbids acceptance and giving of usury in all religions. All of them. For this reason. Why would people who are least trustworthy, whom we have proof historically that they have caused oppression and subjugation everywhere they went, why should they be in charge of trust? Money is a social tool that does nothing other than represent trust. Once you understand money that way, everything else becomes clear. Peace be with you.